Okay, I think I am streaming. Let me just check, make sure I am. Okay, I think I am. Okay, great news. I am now streaming live. So, what am I doing in my live stream here? I am going to be replying to some comments. Something I don't do regularly enough. I probably should just type them in. I don't know why. I read them all, and always excited to get them. So we'll go back in time a little bit and work backwards forwards. Let me scroll down a little bit more. I don't know where we'll start. I'll start right after my last live stream and see what's going on. And as usual, if you are watching this, then feel free to put something in the live chat. Probably also going to touch on a few of the things, maybe some of the reasons why I haven't been posting too much recently. And go from there. We'll go here. Demo of various crossbow functionalities. Yeah, absolutely. Crossbow is fantastic. I will put something up about crossbow, ether stubs and VLANs and all that fantastic stuff. Yeah, I know. I can't seem to manage dealing with the audio here. I do now have a new sound card. It still is just a little cheap USB jobby. Hopefully the audio is better. I do record these things simply with the, my mod mic I use for playing games. I at one point need to invest in a better microphone and a proper mixer and microphone preamps and everything like that. Thank you. As for PCIe cards, I don't believe SmartOS does PCI pass-through, but I can't be sure. Yeah, so OmniOS now has the OmniOS Community Edition. I'll put something up about that as well. And that's particularly interesting if I'm following on the mailing list, and that's exciting to watch OmniOS get taken over by the community, and they're putting out stuff. I think, what is it? The 24 release is coming out pretty soon. Yeah, it should be easy to do a USB dongle with OpenIndiana. It depends on what type of USB dongle it is, right? There have to be a driver for it. I don't know where you can get the software for the Sun PCI 2 card. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a repository for some of this stuff somewhere. Typically, Google will help you find out about that. Okay, a couple things in chat, so I will reply to that now. Hello to Retro IT, and my favorite OS. It's gonna, it's gonna squarely fall into the realm of Unix-like operating systems. I'm not putting my thoughts together very well today. Linux user for a long time, but also, Linux at home, then things like Solaris and IRIX at work. IRIX dropped off. Solaris, again, Oracle purchase. Now I'm a huge fan of Illumos. There are some things Illumos can't do, various little things. So what I'm running right now is Slackware. So things like running Open Broadcast Studio to to do live streaming like this or any of the sort of video production stuff. Kind of a weak spot in Illumos. But yeah, my favorites are going to be Illumos. I really like Triblix for the desktop, and SmartOS for the server side. Also, the BSDs are fantastic. They have their uses. Just like my router and security gateway is based on OpenBSD. So yeah, I am running. This is Slackware 14.2, what I'm using right now. Let's see where. Clustering, yes, OpenVMS clustering is on the list. We'll probably do that with SimH and do it with the VAX. Yeah, is there a small and Unixy database? That's going to be a good question. I would say SQLite, which I like and use. It's tiny. If you need a small relational database, it works great. It's pretty handy, but if you're meaning something that's like, something like DBase or FoxPro for Unix, I don't think that exists. I think there is a DBase, XBase is available, but that's just a library. Yeah, SC is fantastic. Maybe a video upcoming on some SC tricks, doing some fun stuff like using pipes and outboard software to say call out to R using R script and read and write to going through standard in, standard out to be able to do some, say like a linear regression out of SC. Yep. Always check root password as password. Most people do that for convenience. Fantastic. Celebrity here commenting on Peter Tribble, creator of Triblix. Fantastic. Yes, OmniTriblix is super cool. Getting LX zones on Triblix is fantastic. I love Triblix. It makes sense. System 4 packages. It's got the retro feel. Fantastic. And yeah, now it has LX zones. So fantastic. Well, what other editor would you use? VI, maybe? JED? Of course you're going to start Emacs. Yeah, 2.6. I don't know if I have Solaris 2.6 for x86. But if I do, I certainly will, if I can find a disk for it, yeah, sure. It may be a little difficult. I mean, trying to virtualize one of those older OSs can be challenging. Yeah, I've got the mouse mat now. Yes, thank you. As already touched on, bad audio. Yes, more bad audio. That was in reference to, here I got some cheap desktop attachment microphones. Yes, there will be some more cat videos coming out, just because, well, I have cats. And one of the reasons that I haven't been posting too much recently, it's been a kind of tough sort of end of the summer, from July on. One of my dogs passed away, the oldest. He was 14, it was time. Oftentimes if you heard dogs snoring in my videos, he was the one who would be doing the loudest snoring. So we had to euthanize him a couple months back. And then my new cat, the small one, if you see the cat videos, she got sick, and so a lot of trips back and forth to the emergency veterinarian. So it's been really hectic, and some stuff's going on job-wise for me in my real work. Nothing bad there, but I'm busy at work. So there's been a lot of stuff going on, and then of course took a week in Maine on vacation. All these things kind of add up to mean I wasn't posting as much. But now that fall is rolling around, I'm going to be getting back into the swing of things here, with some fresh content, and hopefully that's good. But yeah, my apologies about a little bit of a hiatus here. As I said, some things going on there, but should be correcting now. OmniOS repositories. You should be able to do that with iPackage to point to a different repository. Yes, I did the SCIM. That was in the video. Yeah, we'll do BC. BC is a fantastic tool, and maybe some DC macros. So maybe I'll wrap it up into one massive thing with BC and DC and SC. All the two letters that end in C. It's some cool stuff. Yeah, DC is fantastic. Yeah, what's interesting about Emacs Calc is I always find myself running to do DC to make a calculation, right? If I have a calculation to make, I'll go to DC rather than Emacs Calc. But yeah, we can do a head-to-head. Okay, let me read this. Well, if you want to keep the existing initRD, just rename it to something else and point to the new one. Yeah, get the NVRAM chips soon. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, those are, now like 25-year-old. I mean, Dallas is still making them, but you don't know when they're going to disappear. Yep. Also, more stuff coming out for the book channels. I can't put them up on screen here, but I just got a big used book haul that for some stuff. So used book haul coming. OmniOS LX Zone tutorial. Yeah, sure. I mean, maybe we'll do a video on how to generate an LX image from an OS that isn't supported, right? So something like Slackware. Thank you. Cats. The HP Integrity, so my Integrity RX 1620 is currently without its case. I threw out the case because it's a big, rack mount case, 1U. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to make like a wooden box for it. And what am I going to do? I, basically have to screw down the PCB on, and the power supply and everything onto like a wooden board, put a little shell around it, throw some extra fans there. It is in a box. I am looking at it right now from my desk. It is an albatross around my neck for sure. And it's something that has to be done. So I will be getting to it. And HPUX, I don't have a license for it or any media, but if I could get a hold of some, sure, HPUX. In a similar vein, I have alpha emulators. Could do the same for, what was it, True 64, for instance. Oracle wasn't bad until then. Yeah, so my experience of Oracle before they bought MySQL was just as a relational database vendor. And there, I mean, what was it, mid-90s, you had kind of Oracle's relational database on one hand, you had DB2 on the other, you had Sybase and other things out there. I always preferred DB2, even though it had its own flaws. But yeah, Elvis is old and hasn't been updated recently. I still like it. It's makes more sense to me than Vim. So why package wouldn't install Xorg? Don't know what to make of that. Maybe a network problem? I think I already replied here. Posted a link to an example motif config, MWMRC. Yep, OpenBSD, better I don't know. The NetBSD and OpenBSD, if you're doing more obscure hardware, although OpenBSD has recently dropped VAX support. So if you want a VAX BSD, you still have NetBSD. I suppose Quadjarius or whatever, however you pronounce it. Thank you. Again, I have to say, I can't believe how many supportive comments I get on here. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You hear, horror stories about YouTube comment sections. Everyone here is polite, knowledgeable. It's fantastic. Yep, Solaris 10 was the big kind of shot across the bow of everyone else to say, here's how you do a modern OS. Solaris 10 was fantastic. I don't control the ads, and I'm sorry. 1.5 minutes for Wix? That's crazy. Read this. Huh. Don't know what to make of that. Solaris 10 non-Oracle. Configuration. You shouldn't need a driver for a Sun keyboard on a Sun system. Maybe a setting for what keyboard map you're using. Yeah. Well, you can set your MAC address to whatever you want. There's no reason to stick with what it was. Set it to whatever. Unless, of course, you have software that relies on it for its licensing. That must have been a fun job. The 11780s were huge, fantastic, and groundbreaking. Yeah, so SunView and News I used briefly, right? So the first time I sat in front of a Sun workstation was right as some of those things were still around and being phased out. So that maybe I'd have to research it a little bit. News was a very cool system. If I recall correctly, it was sort of like PostScript for display, like a display PostScript. Fantastic thing. But I don't think the machines of the day had quite the horsepower to deal with it. And yeah, TOPS 10 has been on my list for a while. Again, know very little about it. Think I used it maybe I had logged in somewhere in the 90s, was still running it. I doubt it though. I'm probably confused somewhere. Here's an interesting one. Thank you for complimenting on my videos. But in no way is FreeBSD useless. Right? It is one of the most useful operating systems out there. If you want a generic Unix, it's great. It has jails. It has a hypervisor. It has ZFS. It has dtrace. It has all these bits and pieces. It's open source. So, and it has a huge base of a huge library of software available for it, either as packages or in the port system. So it's incredibly useful. I mean, that would be the equivalent of saying, Linux is useless, right? You can't say FreeBSD is useless. Really, any of these operating systems that are at this kind of, let's say, top tier, where you have, based on the different kernel, the BSDs, you have Illumos, you have Linux, you have Windows, right? All of these, they're all useful. I mean, people wouldn't use them if they weren't useful. Yeah, Smart Data Center is pretty nifty. I don't think I have enough hardware to really put that in place yet. Although another reason why I've been a little slacking on things is my personal machines are getting a little bit long in the tooth. So for instance, the machine I'm on right now is it's a 4th generation Intel on a laptop, and Open Broadcaster is really heating it up. So I need to refresh some of my machines, and maybe we'll do another video about that, and maybe some of you guys can help out in trying to suggest some hardware. And what I'd like to do is probably a really fast Intel. One, so I can use KVM on a Lumos. Probably running SmartOS, so I can virtualize on top of it to run some of the stuff I run elsewhere. So nice fast Intel, and really just consolidate storage. So I have one server has some of my storage, another one has another segment of it, and do some mirrored storage in ZFS. In Triblix, I think you get both the Illumos and the GNU, at least most of the common set of utilities. Yeah, so either or both. Yeah, it's interesting, and maybe we should revisit. Might be fun to do another revisit of the workstation prices on eBay, because those are probably fluctuating a bit more. I know I've been tracking on eBay to find some more HP Integrity stuff, really to get into the 28 and like the 2820 or 2880, whatever it is, one of the newer ones that uses SAS drives, and they are just crazy expensive. I mean, they're old, but I guess if you have HPUX or OpenVMS, you'll need that. Definitely going to do a video on package source on Linux. It shouldn't be that hard. We can take a look. And okay. Well, I don't know about running with virt-manager, but should be no problems booting Triblix or SmartOS, any of these. CD and a Solaris 11 on the list. I have not tried a multi-core version of SimH for VAX, but I will definitely look at that. NeoVim. NeoVim's an editor. Yeah, I can take a look at NeoVim. And JWM, sure. Porteus. Not familiar with Porteus, but I will take a look. And I'm glad you have both a SPARCstation 20 and an Ultra One up and running. That is fantastic. I need to get myself a SPARCstation 20, and they are, of course, much more expensive than SPARCstation 10, even though the specs aren't that different. But I've got, sitting up there, another pair of Ross HyperSparks in a box, ready to go for when I get my SPARCstation 20. And I have a source to get a base system, and I thought, I don't know, leave a comment, let me know if you think it'd be interesting to have a video of, kind of a build video. You see people like, oh, build PC, let's go plug memory and drives into it and put it together. If you'd be interested in seeing a build video of a SPARCstation 20, right? So putting in drives, putting in the memory, putting in the CPUs. Let me know if that has any interest. Leave a comment below, and that's certainly on my list to do. And thanks again. So yeah, that is replying to some comments. I'm surprised I had 4 people watching this at this time. Again, my apologies about being a little bit absent from making fresh content. Like I said earlier in this stream, there have been some life issues came up, but hopefully get back to it and do some interesting stuff. And I have to say, I so appreciate all the fantastic comments and all the support and the suggestions of things to look at. There's stuff I don't know, and it really helps. So I'm probably going to wrap this up now because I got to figure out what's for dinner. And again, thanks to everyone, and expect more from me soon.